So which side of the fence are you gonna fall on? Here is a semi-controversial sneaker with a semi-controversial name, or actually two names. And that's the question I'm gonna be asking you guys today, is which side of the fence do you fall on as far as the name of these guys goes. We know that it's a Nike SB Dunk High, but we don't know what it's called. Now, on one hand, it could be called the Sail Bright Crimson, and on the other hand, it could be called the Cheap Cigars. Personally, I'm going to go with Sail Bright Crimson rather than the Cheap Cigars, but you can tell me in the comments down below which way you're going to go. But either way, what we're going to be doing in this video is taking a look at a little comparison back to the original cigars that came back in the day, and then looking at those in terms of what's coming up later this year, which is the Nike SB Dunk High Sail Bright Crimson. This is the Tokyo About a 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo About a 23 Sneaker Channel des.毎日アップするので毎日見てください. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today, what we're looking at is an upcoming release that's far in the future, the Nike SB Dunk High Sail Bright Crimson, or Cheap Cigars. It depends which way you want to look at these guys. Either way, it's a fire sneaker. It's a very, very cool sneaker. And its cousin from back in the day is this right here, these SB Dunk High Cigars. Now, I don't know what they're going to be calling this, and whether or not they have an official name or an official tie-up with a brand or anything like that. I haven't been able to find out that information, but usually there's somebody who watches my videos that can tell me these things. So please do let us all know in the comments down below, and I'll pin your comment down there that we can see whether or not these guys are actually named and collaborating with a brand, or if it's just, you know, the colorway itself that lends itself. Now, originally we were started, like I said, we had these cigars here, and they go with that kind of cigar motif. Number one, in terms of the color of a cigar itself, with that kind of brown, deep brown, almost orange brown color of the cigar, and the tobacco leaves on there as well. But two, when you look at some branding in terms of cigars, the red and gold and yellow are often seen there in the branding on cigars, and those little sort of collars that you get wrapped around the cigar. Now, I myself am not a smoker. In fact, I'm kind of anti-smoking. So if you are a smoker right there, sorry, I don't get it. I'm not a smoker myself, and I'm not going to preach about that. I don't want to promote smoking at the channel, but when it came to these sneakers, and because they're called cigars, it's like, you know what? It's the sneakers that are front and center, so I'm going to stick with them. But I do have a cigar story, because of course, you know, over the course of years, I have smoked the odd cigar from time to time at special events. But the first ever cigar that I smoked, I didn't realize that you weren't meant to inhale them. For those of you out there who don't know what I'm talking about, if you do ever smoke a cigar, you're meant to, and you've never, you know, smoked a cigar, you're meant to just keep the smoke in your mouth and then puff it back out again. You're not meant to actually inhale it into your lungs. I did that for about 5 minutes, so it wasn't just one puff, it was multiples, and I turned green, and it was not a pretty sight. So you know, word to the wise, the unlucky learn from experience, the lucky learn from the experiences of others. Learn from my experience. If you ever do find yourself at a special event and somebody's offering up a cigar, don't inhale that into your lungs. Just make sure that you keep it in your mouth and then puff it back out. But like I say, I don't want to promote smoking to the channel. I'm not a smoker myself, but these are fire sneakers. These are very, very cool sneakers, and that colorway definitely represents those cigar things. Now, the originals, which are behind me here right now, had a much more red rooted colorway going on, and there isn't much about them that is reflected in this, the later colorway, except on that swoosh on the side there that you can see repeats in that sort of deep red color. It's a bit more of a pop and cherry red on the originals, and then here we are in a deep red color. But that's pretty much the only place that is echoed from before. It's almost like they've reversed the colorway in a way, and they've gone with the complete opposite. And what I mean by that is, in two particular places on the upper, you've got two particular light colors where you had reds and oranges before. And what I'm talking about is the suede overlays that you see wrapping up out of the heel, up through the ankle, and then down on the lacing system, and then into that toe box there. They're in that sail colorway, which is very obvious when it goes against the tumbled leather of the panels, which you can see, especially on the midfoot, when it's up against that swoosh there, that you can see the tumbled leather on there. And because that's in white and tumbled against a sail that's a smooth suede, it really creates opposition. Normally you wouldn't think suede and white would kind of contrast against each other. You'd think they'd complement each other and they wouldn't pop off as well as they do. But in the case of these guys, I actually kind of dig that colorway side by side. I've talked previously, and I talked earlier this week when we looked at it was the Flint, it was the Air Jordan 13 Flints, and how they have tumbled leather on their toe box that runs up through the tongue. And I talked about how much I love tumbled leather, especially on my Air Jordan 3 Fire Reds that I unpackaged earlier this year, unboxed earlier this year. I love those tumbled leather effects. I love it. It's one of my favorite features on a sneaker, and I'm very happy to see it come through here on those panels, and it complements that suede really, really nicely to give you that pop. And then the red swoosh on the side there gives you kind of a focus point, a sort of a fulcrum to spin around off, without which it would be too dull of a sneaker, because the sail and the white need that red in there to give it a bit extra pop. What I didn't really appreciate at first glance a feature on these sneakers, and again, it's one of those things that when you know about it and you look at it, you're like, you know what, actually that was a really good decision. I didn't realize it was a good decision until someone pointed it out to me. But the fat laces on these guys are a very good decision, especially because they're in that lighter shade, because having a lighter shade on top of the sail suede and the white tumbled leather could again have been lost and could have been absorbed in the sneaker. But because they're kind of fat laces, they have a bit of character about them and a bit of sort of pop, which wouldn't normally be there when you have a similar color to the rest, to the base colorway on these guys. So it adds an extra dimension to the front half of the sneaker. It adds an extra bit of pop in there, and it's something that I kind of appreciate, and it sets itself off well against the rest of the sneaker. And then the final place it sets itself off well is that you've got a sort of balance effect going on, where the top line on the sneaker is in that dark color. Mostly you've got those pale colors throughout the upper, except on the swoosh. But then when you get down below into the midsole, which again is in the lighter colors, you get into that outsole, and you can see that outsole there in that sort of pop of red. And between them, the top line, the swoosh, and that pop of red in the outsole, they help to balance out the overwhelming white or saleness of the upper. And to me, it really works. It works well as a sneaker. And if I'm honest, and if we look back at the OG cigars and then come back forward again, I'll give you time to look at that OG cigars and then have a look at these upcoming guys. I actually prefer these guys. I think there's more character to that sort of contrast between white and reds, whereas the originals had the reds, the yellows, and the orange that all sort of blended in together. So as a total sneaker, the top line, the swoosh, and the outsole really help to bring balance to what is a sail and a white colorway. So for me, it's a very big yes. I really, really dig these sneakers. I don't know what they're going to go with that name, whether it's going to be that sail bright crimson or cheap cigars as they're calling them, or reversed cigars or something like that. But either way, it's a very fire looking sneaker, a very cool looking sneaker, and it's going to be one of the cooler sneakers that comes out later in the year. Don't know when. I haven't got a release date on that yet, but there's no point putting a release date on things in Sneakerville with the coronavirus kicking around, which is disrupting everything from supply chains to drop dates to sporting events to all of the different things that would normally go into deciding when a drop date comes on a sneaker. All of that's disrupted, all of that's all over the place, and we just don't know where things are going to sit and where things are going. So as far as not knowing what the drop date is on these guys, it wouldn't matter if I did know what the drop date is, because it just isn't reliable information at the moment. But hopefully what we're seeing across the world is that we've gotten past that apex that they've been talking about. We've gotten past that peak, although I am concerned about the poorer parts of the world, such as Africa and South America, where this thing might be going next, and whether they'll be able to contain it in any measure when it gets into the poorer parts of the world. But as far as the northern hemisphere goes, maybe that peak has come and gone, and we're getting into better times ahead. And hopefully then what we'll get drop dates and due dates for sneakers on a more reliable footing. For now though, it's time for me to sign off and thank you guys for checking my content. I do this every single day, and it has been a massive challenge to continue doing this every single day across this sort of coronavirus season. I'm glad I've stuck with it. I had to lose a couple of things, like I wasn't doing a good job on comments and social media and stuff like that, but we're getting back in the game with those things. So hopefully the channel has also gotten past the apex of it, and we can get back to that quality daily thing going on. I have been able to keep the daily content coming, but then the comments and the social media and stuff like that, we're lagging a little bit behind, but hopefully we've turned that corner as well. So for now though, it's time for me to thank you guys for checking out my content. But as I do this every single day, and as I have continued to do this every single day, what that means is that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.